Now, Chris Daukaus, this is his second top 5 opponent in a row, even though he came off a pretty devastating loss to Derek Lewis, knockout in the first round. He comes in as a plus 300 underdog with a minus 380 comeback for Curtis Blaydes. The over and under on this fight, AJ, appears to be 1.5 rounds. So for whatever reason, the odds makers think that either someone's getting knocked out with the quickness or someone's getting ground and pound finished with the quickness. We have seen as of late, Curtis Razor Blaydes has not been the biggest finisher necessarily. He has a decision win against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. He needed that UFC 266. That was a very important win. Decision win against Alexander Volkov. He did finish Shamil Abdurakhimov and Junior Dos Santos, but another decision win against Justin Willis. Clearly, he knows how to knock people out, but he also does not mind grinding it out to a mean decision win where he's just laying on top of you and punching your face in until you're willing to submit. And if you're not willing to submit, then you get in 30-26, 30-25, whatever the case may be. This is 5 rounds though, brother. So let's talk about it. What does Chris Daukaus need to do to make this fight incredibly competitive? And will he utilize that jiu-jitsu black belt that he currently has, one half of the Daukaus brother duo? What do you think?
That's what I was gonna say, man. That we'll see if that jiu-jitsu really comes out. Cause we know Curtis Blaydes, the ultimate litmus test in the heavyweight division. This dude's gonna put it to you. He's gonna get to your hips. He's gonna lock those hands up, and he's gonna be dumping you left to right, everywhere. If you let him get to those hips, man. If you can stay away, either maintain range or invite him in, stay busy in your guard, which very rarely happens. Let's be real. Usually it's position over submission in the UFC game. But if you can get there, you can scramble around, you can get on his back, put the weight of Chris Daukaus on top of Curtis Blaydes, get him in an unfamiliar territory. I mean, it's going to be very hard to do with how talented Blaydes is on the ground. But if that can happen, man, then we're going to see some things be shaken up. That plus 300, I'm kind of shocked. I know it's a sport of what have you done for me lately, and lately Chris Daukaus got absolutely destroyed by Derek Lewis, but at the same point, so did Curtis Blaydes. So they both have that knockout loss to Derek Lewis kind of looming in their memory. It's going to be who's puts in their own game plan to work, and I think Chris Daukaus has a little bit more tools where he can pull from. I mean, I know the wrestling and the attack and the relentless pressure that Curtis Blaydes has, especially over 5 rounds, is going to be a very hard tackle or a very hard hill to climb. But Curtis Blaydes has the stuff to be able to get it done, man. He has the striking, he has the jiu-jitsu. If he can actually get in and make it his style of fight, then I think he's going to have a better time. But if Curtis Blaydes gets it rolling, he's one of those downhill fighters where if he gets going, he's very hard to stop. I said before, the ultimate litmus test, but he really is the ultimate litmus test in the heavyweight division. If you want to be fighting the elites, you need to go through Curtis Blaydes, and I'm glad to see my boy Chris Daukaus coming in and fighting the elites now. Kind of still, even though he lost that one to Derek Lewis, he's still at the top of the range, and I'm excited to see where they put him in after this win, if he's able to get this win. If not, Curtis Blaydes kind of right back to where he is. What do you think?
Well, I do need to push back a little bit, man, because you both said they both got destroyed by Derek Lewis, which is true. But let's add a little context in there. Curtis Blaydes was beating Derek Lewis until he lost. Chris Daukaus was not winning not 1 second of that fight. Lewis put it on him from start to finish. The difference is Curtis Blaydes, his stand-up is a little wonky, a little tight, you know what I mean? A little not too technical. We know he's willing to take some damage in order to get in on that double leg, and once he gets you on the mat, it's going to be a long night. Now, one thing that I wanted to kind of put in as a disclaimer is when you look at their most recent weigh-ins, you have 261 pounds for Curtis Blaydes, 235 for Chris Daukaus. So if he's going to continue to fight at heavyweight, being an undersized heavyweight and utilize that speed and movement, you just got to hope you don't get taken down. Because even if you are a jiu-jitsu black belt, 30 pounds is, when you know how to use it like Curtis Blaydes, that's not a little bit of weight right there. So I do think it will be interesting. But listen, man, Chris Daukaus, he's finished 11 of his 12 fights, man. He's an absolute finisher through and through. Curtis Blaydes willing to get the decision. If this fight does go 5 rounds, who do you give an edge to?
Ooh, if this goes 5 rounds, to be honest, I kind of give it to Curtis Blaydes.
Yeah.
Because at that point, that means Daukaus hasn't stopped him yet, and he's probably getting taken down a lot, and those takedowns count, and they really start grinding on that gas tank. What about you?
Curtis Blaydes all day. The man averages almost 7 takedowns landed per 15 minutes, my man. That's 15 minutes. So give him 25 minutes and who knows what the man will do. I do think he is the absolute upper echelon of the heavyweight division. I do think he is the bona fide number 3 heavyweight in the world, even though, Stipe belongs up there, but we haven't seen him in so long now. And now you just got to wonder, okay, we're just going to drop you out for inactivity a little bit. But it literally goes Francis Ngannou, Cyril Gane, Curtis Blaydes, and even though Derek Lewis already beat Curtis Blaydes, I do think that overall beating all of the heavyweights, Curtis Blaydes is a tougher test than Derek Lewis because of the grappling. So it's like when you're talking about a dude who can wrestle, man, you're talking about Curtis Blaydes. There's nobody else that you're going to talk about in the heavyweight division. Chris Daukaus, even though this is a smash spot for Curtis Blaydes, seemingly on paper, I do think Chris Daukaus has a absolute puncher's chance to avoid the takedown and to get Curtis Blaydes out of there with the quickness. My man, his hand speed is impeccable. His movement is ridiculous. But is he the Tom Aspinall-esque when it comes down to the grappling as well with the striking? That's yet to be seen. We just haven't seen it from Chris Daukaus, so hopefully we get to see something we haven't this weekend at UFC Columbus. But are you throwing some money on Chris Daukaus, brother, or are you just going chalky and rolling with Curtis Blaydes? Like, what are we talking here?
Man, I'm throwing money all day on the Daukaus boys. We haven't seen Chris get it done on the jiu-jitsu, but we have seen his younger brother Kyle get it done. And therefore, I'm going off of the fact that the families practice together. Yeah. Maybe we get to see some of that Daukaus skill come out. But, brother, I'm rolling Daukaus, and I agree with the odds makers. I'm taking the under. I'm going early round 2 KO. I think he's going to get it done. He has the hand speed, he has the power, he has the quickness, and he has that fast twitch, which that gives a lot of wrestlers a little bit of that trouble. So that's where I'm rocking. What about you?
I do think that Chris Daukaus will be able to give Curtis Blaydes some problems on the feet. I think that herky-jerky style of Curtis Blaydes is going to leave for some openings. Little too tight when he's striking, you know what I mean? Not relaxed. And if Chris Daukaus could flow and do his thing, I wouldn't be surprised to see a first-round knockout straight off the bat. But I did want to mention one thing before I give my pick. Even though they both have similar wins, both have beat Alexei Oleinik, both have beat Shamil Abdurakhimov. Both of them finished Abdurakhimov in the second round, so that's impressive as well. But let's talk about Curtis Blaydes. He has wins over Jairzinho Rozenstruik, Alexander Volkov, Junior Dos Santos, Alistair Overeem, Mark Hunt. Come on, brother. I mean, the hit list is insane. I just think that when you lose in devastating fashion, people forget about how good you are. So for that reason, I'm rolling Curtis Blaydes, and I'm actually going to a late round TKO. So give me a third or fourth round TKO, ground and pound style, brother. When Curtis Blaydes is smothering on top of you, there's only so much you can do. So all love for Chris Daukaus. Obviously, we know that. We're big fans of the man on this program, but I cannot put my bias and my fandom in front of my pick because I'm trying to beat you, brother. So let's go. I'm picking Curtis Blaydes. We're going chalky this one. That is your main event right there, folks. So let's see what happens. Hopefully, we get a little bit of a surprise, but I'm going Blaydes. He's going Daukaus. I'm taking the over. He's taking the under. Easy money.